Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses, especially General Manager Horrell, who traveled all the way from Oregon to be here today. Thank you so much. General Manager Horrell, you discussed how my bill would designate the Power Resources Office in Reclamation's Denver headquarters as the lead office for hydropower development, and said, quote, "This provision intends to set up a centralized location for uniformity purposes, yet does not prohibit area offices from implementing specific hydropower development," end quote. Can you elaborate on how having one centralized location as the lead office for hydropower development will reduce the time and associated costs for new hydropower projects?
Yeah, good question. What we're looking for is transparency, and we're looking for efficiencies. And I think that would bring to the table, we lose a lot when we're talking to multiple people and getting multiple answers at different times. So it's kind of bring me a rock, bring me another rock. And we're looking at making that efficiency help the Bureau as well as help us get through faster and more efficiently, which will save money.
Thank you very much. We certainly love transparency, efficiency, and expedience. 4 years and $2.1 million for NEPA for the canal piping and hydro projects that you discussed in your testimony is discouraging. And it seems like your irrigation district could have really benefited from the provisions in my bill if we had passed this a little bit sooner. Now, General Manager Horrell, can you further discuss how my bill would ensure that there will be no financial and operational impacts to existing water users with the development of the new hydropower authorization by this legislation?
In my experience, what we do is we generate revenue that brings in to help keep our costs down, keep our rates low for our end users, our farmers. These projects that we build are paid for by generating hydro revenue within my district, and it is at a no cost to the patrons.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here and your testimony and for answering so many questions. Deputy Commissioner Palumbo, thank you also for being here today, and all of Reclamation's technical assistance in drafting this important bill. You touched on it in your testimony, but could you also please elaborate on how this bill will spur additional non-federal hydropower development in reclamation projects?
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Boebert. As you identified, streamlining is fundamental to implementing projects. So right now we currently implement projects with FERC authority as well as the LISA Power Privilege Authority. This would centralize the authority under LISA Power Privilege, making it very clear to work with Reclamation on developing hydropower, both federal and non-federal, on reclamation lands. So that envelope of our lands that we have, our facilities that we have, we would use one authority, that would be LISA Power Privilege, centralized through our Power Resources Office, making it very efficient to move through the process of implementing projects as quickly as possible, as smartly as possible, and as strategically as possible.
Yes, thank you. I would agree with that. Just the fast track of streamlining this, having that one authority, it being centralized, and streamlining a permitting process that can typically be very burdensome at times. Obviously, I mean, that sounds like a wonderful thing that we should be working on. And I think that this will accomplish more for our stakeholders on the ground in states like Colorado. Now, can you elaborate on the importance of and benefits associated with existing hydropower and the need for new hydropower to be encouraged and developed at a larger scale?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. We often talk about wind and solar coming online. We consider that a variable resource. Hydropower is the ability to backstop, to stabilize the grid very quickly when that variable resource might drop out. So it enables solar and wind to be generated, and also with hydropower backstopping it, it stabilizes the grid, providing overall value to all the beneficiaries of that particular section of the grid. So it provides a tremendous benefit by stabilizing the system and speeding up implementation of future projects.
Yes, and my time has expired. Mr. Chairman, since we kind of have a smaller group, may I ask General Manager Horrell one more question? Okay, thank you. General Manager Horrell, you discussed the current challenges with hydropower development on reclamation facilities. Can you please elaborate on how the White House Council on Environmental Quality the final rule implementing Phase 2 of significant revisions to NEPA regulations will further complicate an already daunting NEPA process, cause further litigation, increase costs, and provide further regulatory uncertainty that undermines hydropower development?
I can't comment specifically on that rule because I'm not as familiar with it, but I can talk about NEPA and how I've had to deal with that. NEPA has added cost, time, and these projects have a small margin to get done. It's not that we're not trying to follow all the rules. I just think that there's a lot of time involved and money that gets added on. We have a collaborative basin, and when you have a collaborative basin that puts water back in for species, we think that we're doing good things, and we continue to do those, and we believe we're following what the species need. So in my case, anything that we can do to speed these processes up makes our projects more affordable.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the chairman and the ranking member for allowing me to go over my time. We'll discuss this further when we mark up this legislation. Thank you all.
Thank you. Chair recognizes himself for 5 minutes. Deputy Commissioner